Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Luke Lodini. I'm here for Brick by Brick podcast. Today I'll be joined by Eric and Rickssen. Eric, take it away.
Hi, how you doing? I am currently at the University of South Carolina, track and field athlete. Next year I'll be a super senior due to COVID-19. So, yeah.
Hey guys, like he said, I'm Rickssen Opont. I'm currently a graduate student here at the University of South Alabama. I graduated my bachelor's a year ago, Bachelor of Sports Management and Business Administration from St. Thomas Aquinas College, which is a D2 school. I'm also a track and field athlete, and I'm excited to be here today and get my story out there a little bit.
Hey man, appreciate you coming out. Let's start off at Stack. You were a Division II program, you said. What was that like for our young listeners?
Well, even out of high school, I'm only 53 feet, so I wasn't a heavy recruited thrower. But since Stack was close to home, I went to Stack, and basically it was kind of like the mindset where, if you want it, you go get it. Like I had in my mind that, I belong to D1 and I feel like to be a D1 athlete. And I just had to believe and work for it. But being at Stack was difficult at times. I didn't have a throwing coach. We didn't have a facility on campus. So I had to find ways to make things happen where, I had shot puts in my car and I would just drive to Nyack High School and go work with my high school coach, Jose St. Victor, who helped me out a lot, where he would send me workout programs to do throughout the week, and then I'll go see him when I throw, and then when he could, he'll come outside and watch me, or I send him videos. But it was really just that grind where, I was searching for people like, one of my boys, Todd Hubble, he would help me out with workouts as well. He was an exercise science major, and he would write out programs for me, and him and I were kind of like workout partners. So it's just like me, I would always search for people to surround myself with that had the same hunger as me. That's why Eric and I, whenever he would come home from school, we would meet up at RCC and get some throws in. So it was kind of like, it's that mindset. I knew where I wanted to be, and I knew, like, coaches told me I wasn't good enough. Like, at first I was too small, or switching to the spin, I wasn't going to throw further than I did with the glide. There was a lot of naysayers saying that I couldn't. But I had the little voice in my head always told me that I could do whatever I put my mind to, and I just never gave up. So that's how I ended up here.
Now, when in high school did you decide that you wanted to throw in college? Were there any other sports in mind, or was throwing your love right there?
Well, initially I started track as in just kind of like a backup. I used to be a soccer player. I grew up playing soccer. It's so funny, and I'm just huge dude now, but there was once a day when I wasn't. And, growing up in Haiti, that's all we did was play soccer. When we didn't have balls, we played with water bottles and, like, balls of socks and stuff like that. And, coming to the U.S., things kind of shifted a little bit. Like, I tried track freshman year of high school, and I liked it, so I kept on going back to it. But then I started lifting a lot. So then my track coach was like, hey, go try out for the football team. And mind you, I knew nothing about football, but I wanted to play. So I played football junior and senior year. But by senior year, I started on both sides, O-line, D-line. I just worked my butt off. But initially, football was the goal, like to go to college and play football. But then, track kind of took off. All the work I was doing for football was, transitioning to the shot put circle. But then I started getting recruited more for track than football. I was getting like JUCOs in Division III since I didn't play for that long. Yeah. So, I made the choice and go with track instead.
Yeah, I think that's what's cool about track. It's like if you hit that one point, like you get the looks where like in football, it's
numbers don't lie.
Years of film.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the problem with like team sports. It's real bias. They look at statistics, measurables, and sometimes the measurables they don't add up. And with track, the tape never lies. So
yeah, exactly.
Good.
I mean, I was told I was too small. You know, I'm 5'9", 5'10", and you know, it doesn't matter how much I can squat or bench. They're looking for that height, they're looking for the size. You know, so I had to do what I had to do. No regrets though.
Yep. Now, tell us about your time in Alabama now. So you've been out there for what, about a year now, right? Or has it
just about? I've been here since August, so
okay.
You know, 6-7 months. But honestly, man, I love it down here. Probably one of the best decisions I've made. You know, training wise, education wise, I'm on a full academic scholarship.
Nice.
Where I have a graduate assistant where I get to teach and undergraduate students get paid for it and get my school paid for. So I'm in the best position any student athlete could ask for. And I have a great coach who's very understanding and knows he's a head coach and he's a throws coach. So I get all the attention that I need, and it's kind of like a complete 360 from what I went from at Stack to now. And you could see the drastic change in my throws and my lifts as well. So I love it. You know, it took some time to get used to the heat, but man, does it feel good to be, you know, treated like the athlete I know I am. You know, being at the D1 level, it's a lot of work, but I've always had a D1 mentality. So I got down here and went right to work, and my numbers have been going up since.
Absolutely. Now, asking both of you, this really goes for both of you. You know, being home, you know, there's a lot of guys and girls that are looking to go into college now, end of the school year. You know, during this time, they're crazy. But what advice would you give somebody that was going into college to a state like Alabama or South Carolina or Florida, you know, somebody that's never been away from home but wants to be a college athlete, and that's where the money is, or that's where their opportunity is?
It's hard. You know, that first year to adjust, being on your own, you know, some people like myself, like I never had a room to myself. And then as soon as I got to college, like I had no one telling me, you know, I had to be to class, you know, like we had academic advisors, we had to check in, but, you know, it was all like on yourself. That was the first time like that has ever happened to me. So it was real, like that first year was just a transitional period for me. Just learning like a lot about myself, and you know, I was homesick. As soon as the school year was over, you know, I got right on the plane and I was right back home. You know, but yeah, it's hard.
You know, that's. I mean, I'm 5 hours away, but like that's a 5 hour drive. You guys are 5 hour flight probably almost, or you know, a few hours. Now, Rickssen, you had both experiences. You were close to home, and now you're away. You know, tell us about both experiences.
Being home was good. It felt good being home, but it's kind of like I felt there are times I felt stuck, like mentally. Like I felt that, you know, it was kind of the same things. Like I was starting to go through the motion. I didn't feel like I was getting pushed to my full potential. And I knew that I wanted to be surrounded by new people. You know, I love being with my family, but they even said it was time for me to get out and explore, because I've been in New York ever since I came here from Haiti. And it was just, I needed something different. I needed to be challenged. I needed to be pushed. And it's crazy how I ended up here in Alabama, because my coach basically, like, he slid in my DMs when I was looking for schools, and he found me in the transfer portal. And to be honest, bro, I had no idea what school that was. I was like, Mobile, what is that? Where is that? I'd never heard of it before. And it turns out to be the best opportunity I could ever ask for. And it was tough having to leave home. I mean, I took my car with me, and that's like I feel like I'm finally living for myself. Like I have my own apartment, I have my dog, you know. I feel alive. Like before, I felt like I was putting everything I had into track, which is great. But then when I was injured and couldn't throw or couldn't train, I felt dead. You know what I mean? For the first time, I feel like I'm alive. And it's not like the partying. Like, I don't even party. It's like I feel like, you know, being home took all that away. Like, because, like, I have strict parents. So like I'm not eager to like party all the time. Like as soon as I got down here, it was like strictly business. Like I'm here for school and track to be better and pursue the Olympics. So it's like I don't know. It's kind of like a maturity thing, like mentally, knowing where I want to be and knowing what I got to do to get there. And that's what I try to do, get better every day.
Yeah, I think also, like the transferring itself, I think it's like a humbling experience because it's, wherever you were before, whatever situation you were in, going to a new environment is definitely something, it's like you already did it once. Now you got to do it all over again. And it's like you already have your group of friends. So it's like, do I got to replace them? Do I got to this, that? It's definitely a different experience. Let's jump into now you're saying talking Haiti, born there. Tell us a little bit about representing them and everything with that.
So yeah, I was born in Haiti and came here back in 2007. I was 9 years old. My mom sent me to live with my dad in New York. She still lives down there. So the grind is kind of all for her, make her proud. And it was kind of like a blessing to make the Haitian national team because, once I decided I was going to dive into track, and it was like, what are the next steps? You know what I mean? I worked really hard to make D2 nationals. And then I'm like, okay, how do I step that up? And, I kept on reaching out to people. And what helped me out, I was born there, so I didn't have to get any legal papers because I'm already dual citizenship. So I just stayed persistent, reached out to the Olympic Committee, find out who's in charge, and, I earned my ticket. And as funny as that, when I did, I wasn't throwing nearly as far as I am. Now I own the indoor and outdoor shot put record, and I have the hammer record. So it's like it all started with this small idea, and it's just like, why not me? Why limit myself? And I just went for it. I took the risk. I didn't get an answer right away. They ignored me, but I kept on emailing. I kept on calling, and that's what it takes. Is just don't be afraid for them to say no, but as long don't take that no. Keep pushing. And that's what I did.
Gotta be persistent.
And, that was probably one of the best experiences of my life because, they flew me out to Toronto to compete in a NACAC championship. And I literally was sitting, there was a point, I'm sitting next to Darrell Hill. I'm sitting next to
these are all
Tim Nelson,
Olympians.
Canada, top throwers in the world.
Yeah, world champion finalists in the shot put.
Frederick Dakers, Reggie.
Top 9 in the world.
I'm just like, at the time I was 19, 20 years old, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I'm really here right now, and that's when it all sinked in because those dudes are my idol, and I'm just like, bro, I am here right now. And at the time I was throwing like 60 meters still, but still, it's just the fact that I got there. Yep. That's when I was like, you know what, I can really do this, and that's when I turned it up the intensity in my training, and now I'm throwing 17 plus consistently, trying to break 18. And Darrell was kind of like a really good mentor to me because at the time I was still gliding. And he was like, dude, I seen your squat videos. I seen you lift. Why are you gliding? You could be a beast with the spin. And that's kind of like what pushed me. I was like, if he can have the time, tell me that. And he's up there and I'm down here. And then that's kind of like the switch. It's like, you know what? I'm willing to take that risk. I know I'm going to suck at first, but I know with my hard work and dedication, I'm going to get there. And that's what I did. That's what this is my first full year of just rotating. And I'm already throwing like 4 or 5 feet further than I initially was with the glide. But
there you go. That's awesome. Now, Eric, want to talk about, my homeland, representing Ireland.
Irish?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, baby. I love the Irish. I got the ginger beard going,
Yeah, man. So, this happened probably when I was home one summer. I was training with a high school track coach, and he was a Olympian for Ireland. And my mom was talking to him, having a conversation, saying how, my cousin ended up getting her dual citizenship because our grandmother, she was born and raised there, and she moved when she was, in her 20s. So she has her dual citizenship, and I don't know what happened, but my mom, like the next day, ended up filing all the like paperwork, and I became a dual citizen. And yeah, so last summer I finally ended up representing them. I was invited to the World University Games in Naples, Italy. And it was just unreal, man. You know, I actually found out like a week before that I got invited, and I felt like it was just like a dream. You know, I was on the plane heading to Italy. I mean, the
Yeah.
furthest I've gone, I've been to Ireland.
Nyack, have a straw.
Yeah, like,
That's me, bro.
man, the furthest I've been out of the country was, Toronto. Like, I went to Canada.
Yeah.
Shoot. And, man, it was unreal. I stayed on a cruise ship on the port of Naples, and, I was like, where I slept every night, I looked out and I saw Mount Vesuvius. Just stuff that's just like should be in a movie.
The little things, yeah.
Yeah, and I ended up doing very well there. For my first time competing for Ireland, I placed 10th. I made the finals, and the final didn't go as well as I wanted to, but just to compete with the top like U23 throwers in the world, it was just unreal. Great experience. And then later that summer, they flew me out to Norway. Like, Norway, I don't even know like
Right. Where is that?
like where that is. And that was like, yeah, my second time competing for Ireland. And it was like, this was like a whole team event. So I got to meet like all of like the top athletes in Ireland, real cool dudes. And then, yeah, I scored points for Ireland. I was able to step up because every event was like scored. And I forgot what place we were. We were like in place 6, and we had to stay in 6 in order to like stay in our league.
Yeah.
And I stepped up, and I got the points for the team. So
That's awesome.
it was really cool. Yeah, they took me in as one of their own. I'm just a kid from New York. I have a lot of like ties to Ireland. Like family still living there, but it was unreal. They definitely took me in as one of their own. So
Now tell me about both of you guys. You obviously are around a bunch of great young athletes. Training with them, like what was that like? Were you training alone? Were you training with your teammates? Did you train with other teams? Kind of go on about that.
you can go first, Rickson.
When we were in Toronto, we were training with our team. They had they had different times where the circle was open, like days before we would compete. But it was good setup. It was at the University of Toronto. It was like on their campus, and they had facilities so like 6 in the afternoons when the circle was open. You could come and get as many throws as you can. I got to see like the hammer throwers practice, and they were just launching that.
Yeah.
But it was a very nice experience. Definitely opened my eyes and actually made me believe that I could be like one of the best one day. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So when I got there, I trained with all the throwers. The throwers we had, like, there was different training camps. So with the World University Games, that's like the second smallest meet compared to the Olympics as like the biggest one. So man, there was like 3 or 4 different like training sites, and like the one was just for throwers. And we competed on the first day, and then later that week, like all the other throwers were lifting and throwing, and I got to practice with like the Mexican national record holder, the Egyptian Olympian, the Polish. He has the U23 world record. I mean, he's top 10 in the world right now. just like crazy dudes. Like I could just sit down and actually have a conversation with them. The language barrier was a little tough, but you know, they actually were trying to help me. So also the New Zealand coach that coaches, you know, the guy that's number 2 in the world right now. I didn't know that was his coach, but you know, I sat next to him on the bus and he just, you know, we had a 30-minute conversation about training and like what I was feeling. And, you know, I was just taking in all the knowledge, man. Definitely an unbelievable experience.
So now let me ask, you know, you two guys, you know, back where we're from, you guys both are very well-known throwers, both well-known athletes. What advice would you give to, you know, a younger guy that's hitting his senior year upcoming, and, you know, is looking to helping with form, you know, recommending YouTube videos? What type of things do you recommend for them?
I would say, man, you can look up, I mean, obviously there's YouTube videos, search up everything, but you should message these pros, because pros they were once in your shoes. They understand what happened, like people in high school that don't have a coach, and, you know, they're real people. You know, I'm sure if you shoot them a DM, ask them some questions, they will be, maybe not all of them will answer, but majority of them. I mean, throwers, we're all like one family, and, you know, we all just want to see people do good. So that's like the difference. Yeah.
I mean, for me, I would say, like, I learned, like, the weight throw and the hammer throw too watching YouTube. And I picked that up without, you know, I went from, 30 meters, and I do 55, 90. And, you know, and just once I finally got the coach, everything clicked. But I definitely would say, definitely trust the process, you know, especially with TikTok and Instagram. I get that question asked all the time. Kids wondering, how do I throw further? How do I, you know, bench more? And all I tell them is be patient with learning the technique, work hard, and trust the process. Because especially nowadays, everyone's expect, oh, I did this today, I should throw this today or tomorrow. They expect instant gratification and to throw far right away. It takes time. It takes time and repetition to develop yourself into that athlete to become elite. You know what I'm saying? Everything you do adds up to what you will become. So, you know, the reps you missing out, or you're quitting on yourself, that's going to hurt you in the future. So that's what I would definitely say. Hey, trust the process and just keep working hard. Don't give up. Like, with faith and hard work, anything is possible, no matter what it is.
Yep.
And that's what I always tell them.
Positive mindset.
Back to, you know, working hard and everything. You know, like, what are some lifts that you guys recommend that, you know, like I know, Eric, you're a clean freak. Like, you know, I always see you clean. You know, like, what do you recommend clean? Like, what's something that you recommend that for young athletes and throwers to do that, you know, like being consistent with?
Of course. I mean, the main lifts will, you know, help with shot put, but I feel like a lot of young throwers get stuck up on the numbers. You know, they think that, oh, if I hit this number, that I'm going to throw this far.
Yep.
But it doesn't always work like that. I mean, you know, obviously you want to bench, squat, like all the main lifts, clean, but it doesn't always translate.
Yep.
So for a young thrower, if I would have to go back in time and talk to myself back in high school, I would say, you know, focus on the technique aspect. Don't always think that just getting strong, just be like a meathead, and this is what's going to get it to go far. Because honestly, my junior to my senior year, I think I only improved like 1.5 feet, which my strength levels increased, like everything, but I was just trying to muscle it. Like shot put, there's a lot of feel aspect to it. So if you don't have that feel, it's not going to go anywhere. So definitely be smart with your technical cues and feeling. You actually have to feel the shot. So, yeah.
I definitely agree with that. For me, not having a coach in college, I had to, focus on the things that were my strong suit.
Absolutely.
So at Stack, I wasn't really cleaning that much, or that's why, in previous videos, you could see that my form was terrible. And I could not lift heavy for nothing. And just, like he said, technique is very important. And there's something I struggled with too. Like, I was one of those kids who's like, oh, I need to be squatting 700 pounds for reps. Like, I need to be strong for me to throw far. And I ended up getting hurt like that, just, overworking my legs,
Yep.
squatting all the time and really heavy, thinking that I need power, instead of, perfecting the technique and timing, which is what I'm working on now. And now, I'm able to clean three plus, which I couldn't do that even if I wanted to a year ago, not even close. Even a couple months ago, the most I did was like 280 something.
Yeah.
And I struggled with that. So,
Yeah.
and it's just like, that's the importance of, perfecting, how important you don't realize your technique and proper posture is. Like, I used to throw and put everything, literally everything I had, and the shot put's not going anywhere. And I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense. I'm putting power, I'm doing all this, but I had to realize it's about posture, it's about timing, it's about feeling you staying back and being separated and hitting the right position. And that's when your shot put's gonna start going, because they say like your best throws will be your most effortless throw. You won't even feel like you put effort in it because you're calm. When you try too hard, it's not gonna go anywhere. And I had to learn that the hard way through injuries and just hitting that reset button and just, okay, I know I'm strong, but how can I better that? You know what I'm saying? What's next? Work on my mobility, break it down. Sometimes these kids think, oh, I benched this. There's no way I should be repping out 225. I had to tell myself that, I don't have to, be lifting heavy all the time. I had to hit that reset button, go light, work on proper technique, because once you have good form, those big numbers going to come to you.
Absolutely.
Like, I had to learn that through injuries, and that would highly advise like younger kids, be precaution, because you need your body, especially if you're trying to make it to the next level, because all your injuries are going to catch up to you.
Yeah.
So
truth.
I think that also comes with the next level thing, like stretching, like taking care of your body. Stretching is so huge. Like
Your mind too.
We took 10 minutes in the beginning of every lift and 10 minutes at the end of every lift to stretch, and to you're stretching before, after, foam roll, bands. Talk about stretching for you guys being throwers and everything.
I mean,
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not the most flexible. I wish, I wish I spent, 20 minutes a day stretching. Before I lift or throw, I do like a dynamic warm up.
Yeah.
And that usually gets me going. Now that I'm getting older, about to turn 24. I'm an old man.
You're an old man, bro.
Yeah. I'm going to have to start stretching and doing all this stuff, but I don't know. I've just been slacking, so.
No, but I mean that dynamic warm up, the time doesn't matter as long as you're stretching somehow before, like it's different when you just go in. It's like going into a meet, like you got to do so much stretch, so much lift. Like if you're maxing out, you're stretching even more. Taking care of the body is definitely a big thing.
For me, regarding that, I had to learn the hard way, and I definitely do not recommend that for any. Like a year ago, I literally broke my back, and it's because pushing so much weight for so long. By the time I was 16, I was already squatting 5+, and in college, I was repping that out. Where to the point where my max, was 790. I've put 800 on my back before and failed, but it got to the point where I started to have back issues, like it would hurt after every leg day. But I didn't think anything of it. I was like, oh, it goes away, you know. Yeah. And literally a year ago, I think November, I remember this day, November 29th, I was squatting like, I was working up to heavy single, and the set before was 695, and I was like, yo, I feel good. And I threw 730 on, and I go down. I get halfway, and literally something popped in like my butt. But it felt like someone hit me as hard as they could, and my legs were numb. And literally the bar just like went down really quick. It like bent my neck down and stuff forward, and like fell forward. And like even like it took me a long time to build up the courage to post the video. But like a question I get asked all the time is like, why didn't you drop it behind you? Why did you have no spotters? Why? And the answer to that is, in my mind, is like, it's a way I've done thousands of times. Like I know I could do it. So in my head, I was like, I should have had a spotter, but I was like, nah, I got this. And like I felt good. That's the only reason why I went up. And what happened was I ended up pinching my sciatica nerve from my lower back all the way down to my Achilles. I couldn't feel my hamstrings for months. I couldn't sleep. I'm pretty sure I slipped a couple of discs, but my stubborn self, I never went to the doctor. I was scared. I was literally scared what they would say. And I literally competed my whole indoor season hurt. I didn't tell nobody. I couldn't tell my trainer. She was like really like, I don't know what was her deal, but I didn't want to sit out the season. It was my last season. So I was like, bro, I literally competed all indoors in pain. And, I just started stretching more. And that's what really helped it get better, going to chiropractor and stretching. But I really advise, and I start taking that serious now. Because, like, whenever I'm tight, I feel it right away. My lower back, it locks up here and there, my hamstrings. So stretching is huge, especially for throwing. Because you're putting so much force and power into the ball. If anything is tight, it can pull it toward. It's going to go. Especially, at the intensity we train now, where we're taking high volumes, where we even go a heavier implement when we're going to 20 pounds, to 18 pounds. If you're not loose and stretched right and you're ready to go and throw those weights at a high level or high volume, you're going to get hurt. And that's how you, especially at D1, they do everything you can to prevent injuries. And one of those is acknowledging the importance of taking care of your body, the proper sleep, eating right, drinking water, was something I struggle with. But, hey, that's one of the things I'm trying to work on to become better. The little things, the jug of water.
It keeps the doctor away. That's my saying.
Yeah.
Let's go on. You both you got indoor and fall season, and then outdoor and spring season. Tell us about Rickssen. Want to start off? Tell us about how your first fall season went.
As a D1 athlete?
Yep.
Honestly, I was kind of like a Cinderella story, to be honest. Coming to a D1 level, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I was really worried because everyone here was expecting me. Okay, this kid, apparently he's good. At the time, I'm only still throwing 17. I threw 1767 a year ago. So I had a lot of high expectation coming in, where favored to win conference and all that stuff. And during fall training, it was rough. Some of the drills that I wasn't used to, I sucked at them. Not gonna lie, I really sucked. But I just never gave up, and I kind of got blessed for the coach that I had. He was so patient with me, and he kind of knew, in a way, he knew with my work ethic, everything will come back together. Because every time, my throws were literally going out the pit, like to the left, literally out the sector, from over rotating so much. And he would be like, when I was being hard on myself, and he would just be like, no, you're fine, you're going to get it, you come around soon. But, come indoor season to the start of the season, I went from throwing 1496 in a weight throw, and then I threw 1740, and then I ended up throwing 1757.
Okay.
And that's just a year difference. Yeah. And that's the difference, having a proper coach and just being around the right resources. I made that big jump. If I had more time, I definitely could have broken 20 meters. You
Yeah.
know, it's just we had limited time, and he didn't want to mess up my shot put, thinking this spring would have been my last season. So he didn't enforce nothing to change. He was just, okay, here, do 2 spins. Like, I wanted to do 3, but he didn't want to, mess me up. So I ended up winning conference in the shot put, and I PR'd in the weight throw, placing 6th. So I ended up scoring 13 points at my first Division I conference championship. So it was kind of like,
And you're one of the
I,
top. You're one of the top athletes at the university.
at the school, exactly. That was kind of
wow.
like I was nominated for Athlete of the Year, and I won top scorer for the team. And it's crazy, like when I even think about that, it's just like for so long I doubted myself. It was like, am I worthy? Am I worthy? And I let those people telling me that I wasn't good enough get into my head, but that little voice just never let me give up. And for those things to happen, everybody comes up to me, it's like, how does it feel? How does it feel? And like, I'm just like, bro, I'm just as surprised as they are. It's like, I don't know what to feel, because all I know is to work hard and to pursue my better self every day. So it's just when I achieve it, I don't even know how to react. It's as if I don't even believe that I did what I did. Yeah. But it really feels good though. But like, it kind of like those little small victories encourage me to continue believing in my journey. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the best thrower, but I have a story and I have my work ethic, and sometimes that's all you need. Just focus on your own journey, and that's what I learned throughout mine. Like, I don't have to compare myself to other throwers. Yes, there's other throwers that are better than me, but that has nothing to do with me. It's me against the tape measure when I'm in that circle. You get what I'm saying? And that's what helps me, stay on track. So I had a great indoor season, and I was looking forward to outdoors because I was going to turn it up. But, this worked out to be a blessing in disguise, where Eric and I were now training, for the Olympics now. It's not just for our last season anymore. We're looking at the bigger picture. So,
you want to talk about how your season went this year?
Yeah, man. So my season went well. It started off, I ended up throwing 1890, 98 that first meet, but my last throw coming around, I caught my ankle on the toe board and sprained my ankle. It was like a high ankle. I don't know if it was a high ankle sprain. I never went to the doctors. My trainers just were like, all right, take a little bit of time, come into rehab twice a day, and, we'll get you right. I was nervous. I was so nervous.
What's the machine? The ice machine.
The step.
Stem, ice. I was doing all of it multiple times a day. Yeah. So I was so nervous, man, because, I was ready to throw a big throw winter season, and then just to have that, whole fall training of just great training. And for the first meet to get hurt, I was just like, yo, this is not happening. How is this happening?
It's like, how are we going to start off like this?
Yeah, but shoot. I was lucky, the training staff, they really just like worked with me well. I was going crazy in there, but they kept my head level and put me on a plan basically. And each week they just wanted me to keep on progressing. Doing shot put drills in the training room. I was rotating on my left leg, and I thought my left leg was actually going to break. I felt like the bones were just like peeling apart, and it was just not good signs. But, they kept me calm, cool, and just said it will get better day by day. Just take it day by day. And, man, I think it was, the first week I ended up missing that next meet. And then we went to New York the week after that. I missed that. And then the following week, that's when I came back. It was a home meet. And I ended up throwing that meet, and I threw 1902. So, to come back throwing even further than what I started with was just like, man, I thought I wasn't even going to be able to throw because I thought I had a high ankle sprain. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
But, the training staff at South Carolina really blessed me. And, throughout the whole indoor season, I just kind of built on that. And I think the next meet I threw a PR. Actually, I threw 1949 or 45, which my PR before was like 1938. So, you know, it was like a whole year. Like I PR'd like a whole year,
Yeah.
and then the following week we went to Clemson, and it was like a big time meet, and I PR'd there again, and ended up getting like the Ireland national record.
Nice.
So yeah, that was big time, and yeah, just kept on building until conference. I threw 1940 again, so I was real consistent, you know, ready for a big one, but unfortunately it doesn't always happen. I ended up throwing, you know, 1940, like further than my PR 4 times that year, like that indoor season. So I was really ready to rock and roll, and then Corona hit and derailed everything. I remember when I got the call, my teammates were actually at the track in New Mexico, and they said how all the other conferences were getting pulled out of the meet. It was like Pac-12 and then the Big Ten. And it was just like dominoes after that. You know, they canceled the indoor championship and then the outdoor championships.
Yeah.
And SEC came back later that week and just said everything's canceled. So
it was crazy because, you know, not being in season personally, but like here at school at Brockport, I know our guys' baseball team were about to get on a bus to go to Florida.
Yep.
And
Spring break.
for a baseball tournament, and they right when they got on the bus, the coaches got the call that the season was over. So like, imagine going in your senior year, you're about to go to Florida, awesome time, and it gets cut short. You know, like I know our softball team was already out in Florida. They ended up getting a few extra games, but you know, this crisis is definitely something interesting, and we're definitely going to get to talk about that in our next video. So shout out, thank you Rickssen, thank you Eric, everybody tune in, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good night.
Peace out. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining. Yes, sir.